Hello my besties. Hi, welcome in. Today is going to be a short video. I have my book of the month box here and I don't really have a video that I'm able to put in at the moment. So I'm just going to make you a video about my book of the month box for April. I got 5 books this time like usual because I have absolutely no chill and I have no self-control. If you're new here, my name is Alanna. I am from New York State, the upstate western part, not the city. If you're new here, hi, welcome in. If you're a returning friend, welcome back. Let's get right into it. Yeah. So the first book that we have on our Book of the Month box list here is Every Sweet Thing is Bitter by Samantha Crewson. This is a mystery novel by a debut author, and it's an early access or early release. So I'm very excited to read this. I'm just going to read you guys the synopsis and stuff from the inside, just to give you guys an idea of what the book is about. It sounds really good. I read a little bit of it, the synopsis, not the book. This says, a woman with a violent past gets a chance at redemption in this upmarket suspense debut. 13 years ago, Providence Bird threw the family car in reverse and ran over her mother. Even though her mother survived, that single instant of teenage madness made Providence a felon and irrevocably altered her life. When her mother disappears years later under suspicious circumstances, Providence tells herself that returning home is her chance to find closure after a prolonged estrangement from her family. Never mind that this is only half of the truth. She's also returning to finally confront her abusive father, Tom Bird. Nothing can stamp out Providence's certainty that he is guilty of whatever terrible thing has happened to his mother, or to her mother. As the search unfolds, Providence is haunted by the wounds of her past, none of which cut as deep as the distance between her and her younger sisters. Harmony and Grace are both uniquely scarred by her attempted matricide, and both have their own idea of what reconciliations might look like, if reconciling is even possible. Harmony urges Providence to make their father pay for his sins. Grace begs her to end the cycle of violence that has haunted their family for generations. As her thirst for vengeance collides with her desire to heal her relationships with her sisters, Providence must decide which she values more, revenge or redemption. So that sounds really good. It definitely sounds like it's going to be very mysterious and that it's going to be very emotional. I like this cover quite a bit. Like, this is just a bit spooky, but then the back is also just really pretty. Like, I find that very, very pretty. Lovely little sunset. So that is going to be our first book for our Book of the Month box this month. Our next book, which I'm extremely excited for because I adored the first book in this series, but our second book is Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is a paranormal romance, and this one centers around Genevieve, which is... Oh my god, am I really going to forget her name? The first book's sister is where I'm going with this, and I can't for the life of me remember her name. Genevieve and Ophelia. Okay, there we go. Ophelia. This one centers around Genevieve, and this one says, welcome to Enchantra. There's only one rule, never ever trust your heart. When Genevieve Grimm's mother dies, she's left with questions no one can answer, until she receives an invitation to Enchantra, a cursed palace in Italy frozen in time. Though denied entrance by the sinfully handsome yet hostile Rowan Silver, Genevieve finds her own way in, and soon realizes her mistake. For Enchantra is a twisted labyrinth where Rowan and his 6 siblings are trapped in a deadly game, at the mercy of a twisted devil and his ghastly spectators. Only one occupant of the house can survive. Genevieve now must win or die. Rowan warns her he's the deadliest of the Silvers, that he always wins, that her only chance is to compete at his wife, I swear I can read. That her only chance is to compete as his wife. if they must convince their audience they're desperately in love, and while Genevieve's willing to do whatever it takes to survive, she also knows she can't trust Rowan, and the desire burning between them is a lie. After all, it was Rowan who taught her Enchantress' first rule: never ever trust your heart. That sounds so good. I really enjoyed Phantasma. It was like a games and trials type deal, where you had to go through basically levels in this mansion, and each level was kind of based off of a deadly sin, one of the 7 deadly sins, and it was very interesting, and I really liked it. I rated it 5 stars. I absolutely adored that book. I loved Ophelia and Blackwell so much, but these are like interconnected standalones essentially, because this is like a completely different story. It doesn't have anything to do with her sister or anything like that, so I felt okay reading you guys the synopsis of this, because it's not like it's part of a series, but it's like an interconnected standalone series. It's not like a series where you're following the same characters in the second book. But this sounds so good. I'm very excited to get to it. I always love like the stuff inside these books, like the little pages that come to fix it, like spice it up and tell you where we are. There's just a lot of really cool things within these books that I really enjoy. Also, just look at this. Look at how pretty that is. So pretty. So I'm very excited to read Enchantra. This dedication is really sweet too. It says, "For the brave souls who burn the bridges between themselves and their demons, and for those still trying to light the match, we'll wait for you." Like, that's just so sweet. And there are trigger warnings, so please make sure that you check your triggers before you read this. It's also cool because it has a hierarchy of paranormal beings list tree thing going on here, which I think is really cool. But this is, I think it's going to be really good. I like I said, I adored the first book, so I'm very excited to see where this one takes us, and what kinds of fun we get into over in Italy with the Silvers. The next book that we have in our box is another one that I'm looking forward to. I don't know too much about this, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless, and that is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. This is a sci-fi. It was one of the nominees for 2016 for the Book of the Year, for Book of the Month, which I think is really cool. But this synopsis says, "Are you happy with your life?" Those are the last words Jason Desson hears before the mass abductor knocks him unconscious, before he awakens to find himself strapped to a gurney, surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits, before a man Jason's never met smiles down at him and says, "Welcome back, my friend." In this world he's woken up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife, his son was never born, and Jason is not an ordinary college physics professor, but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. It is this life or the other is it this life or the other that's the dream? And even if the home he remembers is real, how can Jason possibly make it back to the family he loves? The answers lie in a journey more wondrous and horrifying than anything he could have imagined, one that will force him to confront the darkest parts of himself even as he battles a terrifying, seemingly unbeatable foe. This is from the author of the best-selling Wayward Pines trilogy. Dark Matter is a brilliantly plotted tale that is at once sweeping and intimate, mind-bendingly strange, and profoundly human, a relentlessly surprising science fiction thriller about choices past not taken and how far we'll go to claim the lives we dream of. So that sounds really, really good. But I am very excited. I've heard a lot of good things about this, so I'm very excited to see where we go next. Or not where we go next, but where this book takes us and the journey that we go on. I'm very excited for this. It sounds really good. I've heard good things, and yeah, I'm very excited. I don't read a ton of sci-fi, so I'm excited to get a little bit more into sci-fi. There's certain sci-fi elements that I think I'll enjoy, but then there's other stuff that I just don't think I'm gonna be like a big fan of. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like robot, like, stuff like that. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see how I end up liking it and how this fits into if this fits into the versions of sci-fi that I like. But that is our third book. Our fourth book, which I'm very, very excited about, is God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This book is a special edition from Book of the Month. It does have some sprayed edges. This was also our 2024 Book of the Month, Book of the Year winner, which is really exciting, and this is a literary fiction. I've heard really good things about this. Obviously, it won the Lolly in 2024. I really love the sprayed purple edges, and I will read you guys a synopsis of this. When I read it online, like the little blurb about it, when I was picking the book, I thought it sounded really good, but it says, when a teenager vanishes from her Adirondack summer camp, two worlds collide. Early morning, August 1975, a camp counselor discovers an empty bunk. Its occupant, Barbara Van Laar, has gone missing. Barbara isn't just any 13-year-old. She's the daughter of the family that owns the summer camp and employs most of the region's residents. And this isn't the first time a Van Laar child has disappeared. Barbara's older brother similarly vanished 14 years ago, never to be found. As a panicked search begins, a thrilling drama unfolds, chasing down the layered mysteries of the Van Laar family and the blue-collar community living and working in its shadow. Moore's multi-threaded story invites readers into a rich and gripping dynasty of secrets. Liz Moore's most ambitious and wide-reaching novel yet, The God of the Woods, is a story of inheritance and second chances, the tensions between a family and a community, and a history that will not let any of them go. So that sounds really good. I always enjoy, like, a good summer camp read, like a disappearance or mysteries at the summer camp or haunted summer camp, stuff like that, I think are really up my alley. I'm actually reading The Haunting right now by Natasha Preston as one of my mood read books, and I loved her book, The Lake, which takes place at a summer camp, so when I saw that this was in a summer camp, I just was, like, very drawn to it and very excited to try this one out. But like I said, it is a 2024 Book of the Year for Book of the Month, which I think is really, really cool. And I love that I got to get, like, a sprayed edges special edition kind of copy of it through Book of the Month, because they don't usually do sprayed edges and stuff, so I'm very excited that I got to get that, and I'm very excited to read it, so I will have to let you guys know, obviously, how I end up feeling about it, but I'm very excited for it. And the final book that we have is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and it's a fantasy, because I love me some fantasy. This is apparently based off of a classic. It's like a Cleopatra, Shakespeare type deal that we got going on. But it says, best-selling YA author Chloe Gong's adult epic fantasy debut, inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, is a fiery collision of power plays, spilled blood, and romance amid a set of deadly games. So, again, another games, and we love our games. Every year, thousands in the kingdom of Talon will flock to its capital twin city, San-Air, where the palace hosts a set of games. For those confident enough in their ability to jump between bodies, there is a fight to the death across San-Air for a chance to win unimaginable riches. Princess Kala Tuolimi, probably said that very wrong, lurks in hiding. 5 years ago, a massacre left her parents dead and the palace of Air empty, and she was the one who did it. Before her uncle King Kasa and his forces in San can catch her, she plans to finish the job and bring down the monarchy. The king always greets the victors of the games, so if she wins, she gets her opportunity to kill him at last. Enter Anton Makusa, an exiled aristocrat. His childhood love has lain in a coma since they were both ousted from the palace, and he's deep in debt trying to keep her alive. Thankfully, he's one of the best jumpers in the kingdom, flitting from body to body at will. His last chance at saving her is entering the games and winning. Kala finds both an unexpected alliance with Anton and help from King Kasa's adopted son, August Shenzi, who wants to mend Talon's ills. but the three of them have very different goals. Even as Kala and Anton's partnership spirals into something all-consuming, before the games close, Kala must decide what she's playing for, her lover or her kingdom. And I thought that sounded so good. Like I said, I'm a big fantasy person, and I absolutely adore reading fantasy books and romanticises and stuff like that, so I'm very excited to read this. I had never heard of this before, and I wanted one more book for my box, so I was just scrolling through, like, the fantasy books that they've had in the past. Like, I just went through, like, all the past month's boxes, like, for the past few years, and I was just kind of scrolling through, seeing what covers caught my eye, and this caught my eye, and I'm glad that I ended up scrolling to it, because I really am excited to try to read this and see what it's all about. But yeah, those are the 5 books that we have for our Book of the Month box. I am not sponsored by Book of the Month in any way, shape, or form, but I absolutely love this subscription. It is a subscription box where they do their best to find, like, new authors and put out debuts, and it kind of just helps you find books that you wouldn't have found anywhere else or even thought to look at, because they may not be in your normal wheelhouse. But, like, The God of the Woods, probably something that I wouldn't have just walked toward in a store, because I don't usually just go into, like, the literary fiction section. Like, I usually go to, like, thriller, fantasy, like, that kind of stuff. So Dark Matter I probably wouldn't have picked up. I'd seen it a couple times on there, and then I started to see more people talking about it and seeing, like, people's thoughts on it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I will try that out. But I think it's really, really cool, and once you get past, like, 3 months, you become a friend, and, like, you can get, after a certain number of boxes, you can get more add-ons. So your first box, you can only have 1 book, your, like, free credit book for paying for the box. And then after that, once you have a certain number of boxes, you can get up to 4 add-ons. So, like, the book that I chose for this box was The Sweet Thing, Every Sweet Thing is Bitter, and then I picked these other 4 as my add-ons. So I think it's really, really cool, and it's really nice. It's like a discounted kind of way of getting hardcovers, because, like, you get one of the books with your credit for having the box, but then each of your add-ons is $11.99. And then once you hit, like, a year of boxes, you pay even less for your add-ons, which I think is super cool. Like, again, I'm not sponsored, but if anybody is looking for a fun subscription box, being able to find authors and books and stuff that they wouldn't normally probably come across or find anywhere else. There's also early releases, like the Every Sweet Thing is Bitter is also an early release, so it's not even out yet. But yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities and amazing things to find when you have Book of the Month, and you can scroll through the app, and it's a very user-friendly app. I absolutely love it. It tells you all different things. You can also get audiobooks through them. But yeah, if you are looking for a book subscription box where you can get some nice hardcover books for a decent price, I definitely recommend Book of the Month. But that is going to be today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, tell me what your thoughts are. If you liked it, tell me. If you didn't like it, tell me that too. Just don't tell me, like, any spoilers or anything. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And if you are planning to read any of these, let me know. Or if you didn't know about any of these books and this video is kind of making you think, oh, maybe I'll try to pick that up, and maybe that sounds like it's something up my alley, let me know that too. I would love to know. I hope you guys have the best day or night wherever you are in the world. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and I will see you guys the next time that I see you. Bye!